Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. We're going to be going over the 2023 Fall Referee Refresher. We're going to be covering some topics today, like the lost of the game updates, some reminders of the upcoming season. We're going to go over a little bit of the offside review, how to fill out the game cards and reminders before we turn them into the ref tent. And then I just added something else. Maybe Steve can cover that at the end. Just a quick reminder as we shift them from the spreadsheet to CGI. Just cover that real quick, and at the end some Q&A. But thank you very much for taking the time today and joining us today. We're gonna try to make us as short as possible as we can because I know a lot of people got other things to do. So we'll kick it off with Al Prado as our director of instruction for 1463, and we'll move on from there.
Oh, thank you, Mauro. And I promise these next 5 hours will seem like 4. We'll go really quickly. Okay, we've had some changes to the laws of the game this year. Actually, fairly minor changes compared to what we've done in past years, but still some nuances which we might see. So these next couple of slides are sort of a summary of the changes. Clarification on extra persons when a goal is scored. We may not see this during a match, but in case we do. Other match officials, we don't care about that one very much. Duration of the match, goal celebrations. We can add time for that. Determine the outcome of the match. Basically, we're adding the term penalty kicks or shootouts instead of kicks for penalty mark. And we'll go over more detail of these. We can go through these very quickly. Clarification on offside, and I think we'll go over that in this session here. Plus, Mauro will go over that in his point later on. Fouls and misconduct. There's some things going on there, and then the penalty kick. So we'll go over these in more detail starting now. So with the players, basically all of this is new. So if a goal is scored and we as referees realize that there's an additional player on the field, and we have all is good until we restart the match. We can correct anything we can until we restart the match. But before we restart, if we notice there's an extra player in the field, an 8th player for 10U and a 10th for 12U or a 12th for 14 and above, until we start the match, we cannot award that goal. But it is, in our opinion, as referees, if that 12th player was not involved in play, we allow the goal. Okay, that's what the IFAB says, because we don't expect at the bottom here, don't expect us to penalize encroachment if the player did not impact play. At our level, I'm not sure how we would know that. But if we think the player that actually scored the goal not involved in play is somebody that should be on the field, we don't award the goal. Does that make sense? Any questions? Raise your hand, speak out, unmute yourself. We can talk about that. That's sort of a big one. Okay. No questions from then on. Duration of the match. We now, again, these are IFAB rules of the game. So, may likely not happen in our matches on a Saturday morning when you have games back to back to back. But we can if we have the privilege of having time, allow time for like goal celebrations. One team scores a goal, they take a few extra seconds to celebrate the goal. We can now add time for that, not just substitutions and injuries. Questions, comments? Again, this is to understand what the changes have been. The impact to us on a regular field day may not be as important, but just so you understand what the changes are and what the impact is, right? Outcome of a match. This, for people who are anal retentive or have OCD like I do, this is a big change. We've always just called them, kicks from the mark and not penalty kicks or shootouts. But now IFAB has recognized that these are, we can call them now penalties or penalty shootouts, which is what everybody else calls them. So, again, not applicable to us during fall season because I think games can end in a tie. But if you're doing tournaments or playoffs, that's just terminology change. Okay. Questions, comments? Stop me if I'm going too fast.
Good
Okay,
so far.
good. Thank you. Law 11 offside. Again, at the bottom here, the change in this law is really focused on how the opponent plays the ball. So now we're saying deliberate play is really when a player has control of the ball with the possibility of passing to a teammate, gaining possession, or clearing the ball. Because basically offside says last touched or played by a teammate. On the defending side, what does that mean? Control of the ball means they could have controlled it by either passing the ball or clearing the ball. Probably doesn't change your call in a 10U match. A 12U or an extra match or a 14U and above, that may change how you see it. If you think that player is skilled enough to do that actually impacted how he played, then it is in fact offside.
So what we're talking about here is the attacking player challenging the defender, so these come into play. That's how
Correct.
we should be reading these.
Correct.
So if they've influenced the play so the defender could have controlled the ball,
Right.
that is now active involvement.
Yes. Or if the defender, again, use your judgment between 10U, 12U, and 14U and above, and extra, an extra play. If the defending player, in your opinion, is talented enough to have made that play. So, okay, probably less of a change for the 10U folks than the older divisions. And we can send this deck out. This is just some more details of how that applies. Right, ball travel from the distance of the player had a clear view of it. We think of that. Ball was moving quickly. Direction ball is not expected. These are all things which determine how we think if they had a fair shot at it. Questions, comments from the folks who are likely not on screen? Okay. Okay. Cautions for sporting behavior. We're not very card happy, and we shouldn't be. So this is sort of, take this with a little bit of a grain of salt, but we basically added challenge to the ball for SPA, which means starting a promising attack, or DOGSO, which means denies an obvious goal scoring opportunity. So commits any other offense which interferes with or stops a promising attack, except where the appropriate award the penalty kick from the offense. Penalty kick, of course, trumps everything, or challenge for the ball. Again, for most folks doing a 10U, 12U match, more an FYI for your awareness, for your information. For your military folks, for the situation awareness, right? But just so you know, it's probably not going to impact people in 10 or 12U. If we're doing older matches, it may. So this basically clarifies that a senior team coach be sanctioned for an unidentified offender from the technical area. Something happens off the field of play, we're not sure who did it, you can actually caution the head coach, because we're assuming he or she should take responsibility for their team. Again, probably not in 10U, but some experienced coaches may challenge you with that, which hopefully we have enough mentors around to help you with that, but that's what the law says now.
So apologies real quick on this one, Al. So as far as the red text at the bottom, so it's basically saying the senior team coach can be sanctioned for, so they can be sanctioned for an unidentified offender from the technical area, and cannot be sanctioned for an unidentified player.
Correct.
Okay.
So if blue 10 does something, or I'm sure blue 10 or blue 12, not the coach. When something comes from the technical area, if you're not sure if it's the coach or assistant coach that said something, you can caution the head coach.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry. Got it now. Yep.
So if you hear something, like, hey, that's, that sucks or whatever it is from somebody from that technical area, not sure it is, you can caution the coach. And on the penalty kick, a little confusing because we've crossed out the parts that we're removing. But basically on the penalty kick, the keeper must stand between the goalposts until the ball is kicked. We've taken off all the extra things. And the keeper must not behave in a way that unfairly distracts the kicker. And the term unfairly is up to you with the referee. If you, in your opinion, if the referee think it's unfair, then it's unfair. Okay. There's a term we've used quite a bit as we do referee courses called I tutor, in the opinion of the referee. This is one with your opinion. If in your opinion it was unfair, then it's unfair. All keeping track, all keeping in line with fair, fun, and safe. Questions, comments, thoughts?
This would include having the keeper jump up and down and wave their hands, and if you felt that was distracting the kicker in any way, that would apply here.
Correct. They're allowed, as long as they're on the line when the ball is kicked, they can do several things. But if, for example, if they're doing cartwheels,
right,
waving
their arms violently.
Yes, exactly. For these things, we can use our words and our voices, to prevent that. Hey, keeper, stop that. But if that it does happen, that would be an infraction. If in our opinion that was unfair. Okay, and that's pretty much the changes that would impact us at a regional level, and during fall season, with nuances if it happens in postseason. But for the most part, these are the changes. Highly recommend you can download documents from IFAB, and there is the IFAB app which works well with either iPhone or Android. You can download that; it gives you the current laws of the game and the changes. So if you don't have the logbook to carry with you, this is a pretty good backup.
So while we're on this one now, there's a question from Ray. Do we still need the keeper to have 1 foot on the goal line?
Yes, 1 foot on the goal line at the time the ball is kicked.
Well, on or in line with the goal line, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And you deal with that during your pregame with the referee team. How do you tell me the keeper didn't have it? Again, probably not an issue during the 10, 12U match, more so with more of the advanced matches where the keepers are tend to be more skilled, and our coaches think they're good at teaching them.
So real quick on my end, not sure if you guys have a slide for this, but I'm wondering if anybody can talk to us about, because this is fairly new, the update that came in a few months ago in regards to like beads, hair beads.
It's coming.
Oh, it's coming. Okay. I shall silence myself.
Yeah.
Silence.
You got that, Steve, the beads?
I can take it, or you can. It's in the next slide, I think.
Yeah. Well, actually, you're right. Somehow it's not on my deck. Did we miss that? I think we might have missed that.
It's in the original deck. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Let me see if I can pull it up. Anyways, yeah. So I will get that original deck. Why don't we? So basically, as I look for this, apologies for I don't know how we missed that, but we did. I need to call.
If you'd like, I can probably share my screen. I'm looking at it on the website now.
Okay.
Al. Let me see if I can share my screen.
That's just advance 1 slide for me. I'll just.
Oh, okay.
Huh. That is so strange.
Here we go.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. So there's been there's been a big change, and we as AYSO took this from the National High School Association. And I say that because personally, I think some of the diagrams are not what I would have chosen, but basically hair beads and hair beads and clips, right? Bottom line, if you think it's safe, if you think it's safe, good to go. If you don't think it's safe, not good to go. Right? Hair charm, basically the law says no jewelry, and it's just the jewelry and the safety issue. Okay, so the drawings we're talking about is A, clearly not allowed. And that's because if a player swings his or her head, it could in fact hit somebody else. We're not allowing because we're all style experts, right? It's really more of a safety issue. B, there are beads in the hair, but they're clearly secured, not a risk for anybody, including the player. Allowed, right? C, again, and the trouble is if the hair swings around, if the head swings around, can those beads hit somebody? And the answer for A and C is yes, it can. So not allowed. And D, of course, is allowed. Don't think it's a big issue in 1463 yet. I haven't seen anything, but we never know. It's good to be prepared in case we do something outside of that, or play a team that has that. Okay, A, clearly not allowed because that can hurt somebody. B and C, if we feel it's safe, is allowed.
I think the critical thing here is they're tucking the ponytail down into their shirt, and as long as it can stay in their shirt and you think it's safe, then it's okay.
Right. And the trouble is to be 100% frank on this, it is not it's not a racist issue, it's a safety issue. And we have to be sure we stick with the fact that this isn't safe no matter what race the player is. Right? For those who watched back in the 80s, Bo Derek and 10, not allowed for Bo Derek. Those are what I'm talking about, still not allowed, right? A, B, C, and D, all good. No safety issue there. E, not allowed because that hair clip can come out easily. And that could be dangerous to somebody. Right, hair charms, they're jewelry. Not protected by any sort of religious or anything else, right? So this is just jewelry. Questions, comments from anybody? See off the chat here. Okay. Medical devices. This is a tricky one. And this is one where I definitely recommend you speak with the coaches beforehand. Anything that you think is dangerous, like a knee brace. I think some of the DonJoy with the metal stuff, metal apparatuses, that could be dangerous for opposing players. Knee brace, prosthetic limbs. These are allowed as long as it's a strict risk for the players. And the good/bad thing here is it is in your opinion as the referee. So if you're concerned about this, I would I will check with the coaches. If you're Marietta home field, I would take a step back and check with the folks the referee tent just to get a backup opinion. I mean, even though it's your decision, maybe get some other feedback to think. What do you think about this? Because these are things which are very sensitive in nature to the players and the people involved.
I think a thing to add here also is there is a medical device that's worn in ear now that helps with migraines.
Right.
That is allowed.
Yes.
As long as it's covered.
Yeah. The point really is safety. Right. I mean, soccer is a contact sport, so safety is involved in every game. But realistically, what can happen? Can somebody be injured from this being worn?
Next slide.
Questions, comments? And tomorrow's point, next line is basically right. This is the point of what we do is to keep the game safe, fun, fair, and fun.
Next slide.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Are we good? Are we good for a lot of changes? Leanne, you're on mute. I'm not sure if I meant to hear something.
Yeah, no, not seeing questions on the chat. If anybody has any questions, feel free. I know some of you guys have sent some of those questions our way, but if you have any questions for these guys, please feel free to type those in the chat.
Yeah, exactly. And we have emails, so anytime, right? Okay. Pre-game duties.
So I'll take this one from here.
Thank you, Mauro.
Yeah. Thanks, Al. Appreciate that.
Of course.
Are you the host, Steve? Can you just do the slide for me, please?
Absolutely. Just tell me when to go.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, once again, guys, I'm Mauro, the ref admin. We're gonna go over pre-game duties. I know for some of us, we haven't done it since the last season. So there's a couple of things we need to remember. Number one, arrive early on the field, or at least 30 to 45 minutes. Right, take a look at the schedule. Make sure I arrive with the proper uniform and get to know who your crew are. Make sure you meet them early. If you're the referee or the AR, make sure you go over the pregame as far as the match that you're conducting. If it's a 10U, 12U, 14U, or whatever it is, go over the timeline. Go over the responsibilities for the assistant referees. Go over your responsibilities. What do you want them to do as assistant referee to help you assist on the match? As far as the uniform, as you can see in the picture right there, the proper uniform is a yellow jersey, black shorts, black socks, and black shoes. You are not required to wear cleats, right? It's just a matter of choice. You can just wear black tennis shoes. It's even better. As far as the assistant referee flags, they'll be at the referee tent. You can pick them up there. You can also do your pregame prior to the game, and you can all walk together. The game balls will already be on the field. There'll be 3 game balls on the field, and you make sure you just check in before you actually start the match. Once you discuss that, as far as pregame duties, just talk to the coaches, meet the coaches, check in the players, make sure they're wearing the proper uniform, make sure they're not wearing any jewelry. If they're wearing any earrings and the carbide tape, they cannot play. Just have them remove it. If they don't want to remove it, they cannot play the game until they do so. If the coach chooses not to do it, well, the player's not going to play. Unfortunately, not. We already talked about caps and splints. That's not allowed. If you have a soft knee brace, anything that is padded on the body, or any type of medical devices, as long as they're covered, they're okay to play with. If there's any changes on the weather, we will let you know. We'll make sure that we let you know if it's hot, as far as do water breaks during the quarter. Make sure we execute those. Don't make it too long, at least 1 minute. Make sure the players get some water and restart the game back up. As far as uniform items, if you're missing anything like shorts, socks, etc., just contact myself and Steve. we will have some spare uniforms on the field, so we can give you some, so we make sure that you have something to look very professional as you walk into the field. As far as hats, it has to be black, no logos, none of that stuff, right? So if you, we will have some hats on the field. If you don't have any, we will issue one. Just make sure you don't lose it, right? And if you have your own, if it's all black, by all means, just bring it over. Yeah, everything's okay. Next slide. So pregame duties, right? Like I said, arrive early and have the proper equipment. Like I said, flags will be at the ref tent. Bring your whistle, right? During the class, Steve give you one of the best referee whistles we own, right? So bring that over or buy your own. Go to Dick's Sporting Goods, referee.com, soccer.com, you name it. You can buy your own type of whistle. It depends on the matter of taste of yourself. Coin, right? Do you need a coin for a 10U match to start a game? No, you don't. Just get creative, right? Rock, paper, scissors, even numbers, whatever that is, right? Just don't delay the game because you don't have a coin. Just get creative. But please make sure you have a watch and have a pen, so you can document in the game card. A watch, just an Amazon $5 watch, Walmart, whatever that is, as long as you track in time. Please do not use cell phones or stopwatches, right? By using a stopwatch, you lose the visibility of the field. You're always focusing on the watch, on the stopwatch. And if you're using a cell phone, somebody may call you in the middle of the match, or somebody could text you, and then, it's just very distracting and you lose track of time. So please use a watch. Any questions so far?
Not sure if you wanted me to chime in. I know Steve's been answering a few of them, Mauro, but Carl had asked, no logo. Are the 1463 ref program black hats okay?
Yeah, those are okay. That's our issue by us. We'll give you one of those, and you can wear that. That is okay. That is approved by the RC.
Perfect. And what about, sorry, I'll get a little pedantic, but what about if it's a black hat and it's a minimal logo? I'm talking like a little tiny white Nike swoosh on it or something. Is that okay, or does it have to be completely black? I mean, are you going to get too upset about it?
I wouldn't get upset, but just if you have an old black hat, it's fine. If it's a San Diego Padre fan, don't bring that.
I think for the most part, Moran, I'm sure you'll agree, we just want to avoid like LA Dodgers or like Raiders or like, those kind of big giant logos are on those hats, right? So
right, and we have to worry about who the sponsors are, right? So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Coors, Bud Light, Hooters, right? Some of those things, no.
Yeah, glamorize.
Not funny because we've seen those, right? Those ones.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Especially sombreros or straw hats. Please don't wear those. I know they're making them black nowadays, so please don't bring those. It's not gonna work just because it's black. It has to be a hat, right? So just remember that. Other than that, like I said before, any of these items like a whistle, we have spare whistles because sometimes people tend to forget some at home, or any spare, whatever you need, we'll have some at the field. But try to keep your stuff safe, because nowadays our uniform items are getting very expensive to start replacing jerseys, shorts, and socks. Anything that I missed, Steve?
No, I think I covered it.
We will have some pre-game cards on the ref tent for each individual age group. I know I talked to Jaime last night, so we'll procure some cards, so we'll have them so you can go over the pre-game with your assistant referees as far as the different type of match age group that you're doing. So be on the lookout for those. Will be in the ref tent. Other than that, any questions?
When they pick up the uniforms, Mauro, I'm guessing the answer is yes. But when they pick up the uniform kits, will they also get the black book, the referee book?
Yes,
that's correct. The booklet will be in there. We'll have a jersey, a badge, short socks, and the
coin.
The coin
And the ref one. And the ref wallet.
In the pouch. Now everything will be in the bag for you, ready to start the match.
Perfect. Thank you.
Next slide.
And now we're talking about offside, right?
Yes, Steve got this one.
Okay. Highly controversial topic, right? It's very few people on the sidelines understand it, and they can't really see it properly to understand why the call has been made. But just want to remind everyone, there's 3 elements of offside that need to all be present in order for the player to be called for the offside offense. And first is the offside position, and then we'll talk about that on the next slide. Time of judgment, talk about that, and active involvement. And we had a little bit of discussion on active involvement when we talked about changes to the laws of the game. So we will discuss that in greater details. And all 3 of these elements must be present, or otherwise you keep your flag down and you follow play. Okay, so for a player to be in offside position, the attacker needs to be in the opponent's half of the field, or the attacking side. And there's an asterisk there because we'll talk about that in a second. And they need to be closer to the opponent's goal line than the ball, and closer to the opponent's goal line than the second to last defender, which is typically going to be your stopper or your sweeper, as the first defender is going to be your goalkeeper generally. So a player needs to be in an offside position in order to be eligible to be judged for the offside offense. Does anyone have any questions about that? All right. I'll discuss the asterisk now. In 10U, it's no longer the half of the field, but it's the build out line that sets that. So if the player is between the build out line and the goal line, they are now in the part of the field where they can be judged for the offside offense. If they're closer to the goal line, closer to the center line and the build out line, they're not judged there. All right, next slide. All right. So again, the boundary of onside and offside position, it's again closest to the goal line than the last opponent, or the ball, or the halfway line, or the build out line. That's what when you're following your second to last defender of the ball, you now have set what is the offside line that you're going to be judging the attacking player to see if they are beyond that and closer to the goal line. Any questions there? All right. So then move into the second element of offside. When it is judged, offside is judged when the moment the ball is last played or touched by a teammate. Any questions, thoughts on that? Everyone here is fairly experienced, so I would think people have been able to see that. All right, advance. Okay, my least favorite slide. I
do have a question, Steve, just to clarify. Yes. So if the player is in the attacking side when the ball's kicked, but moves back to pick up the ball on their side, they're still offside, correct?
That's correct, because at the time of judgment, if they were in offside position, they were in an offside position when the ball was last played or touched by a teammate. So if they come to a different location on the field that puts them in an onside position and they become actively involved in play, they are still guilty of the offside offense, because when the play was made, they were in offside position.
Okay. Thank you.
What about a ricochet off a teammate? So that's still touching a teammate. So it does not change. It still becomes part of time of judgment. Thank you for the question, Sean. All right. So I've been an instructor for probably going on 15 years now, and I've never liked this slide. But here we go. And something about the pig in a referee's uniform, it's never warmed up to me. Never.
I don't like it either, for the record. I agree with you, Steve. I don't like it.
Okay. But it does play to the acronym that they're trying to do here of what is active involvement. And so playing the ball or being touched by it or interfering with play, interfering with an opponent, and we'll get into some different discussions about what that means, and gaining advantage. And so with the changes in the laws of the game, I think it makes the second interfering with an opponent much easier to call, because we've added challenging for the ball. So if you feel that a attacking player has influenced a defender to having to do something about the ball coming through because the player in an offside position is challenging them for it, the player does not need to collect the ball now, because you can say they're challenging for the ball. That is an offside offense because they are now actively involved in play. All right. So gaining advantage, what we're talking about here is if a ball rebounds or is deflected by an opponent off of the goal or after an opponent makes a save and the player was in an offside position at the time the ball was played by their teammate to cause the deflection or the save, then they've gained advantage by that, and that player is guilty of the offside offense. So additional definitions of interfering with an opponent. It's basically impeding the defender from getting to the ball. They've clearly challenged for the ball, influencing where that player, the defender, would need to take action on the bill. And so all of that is now, it helps us define what is active involvement. I actually like the change in the laws of the game. I think it makes it much clearer and easier for us to throw the flag earlier as opposed to waiting for them to make contact with the ball, which was where it was kind of going.
Agreed.
Okay, so again, offside is defined by all three of the conditions. The player was in an offside position at the time of judgment when it was last touched or played by their teammate, and we have identified there was active involvement. The offside offense has occurred, and we call for the indirect free kick for the opposing team at the place where the attacking player was called to be in the offside or for the offense. And remember, once you call it and you've got your flag is up, make sure you stand there and wait, because everyone needs to know where the ball needs to be restarted. And if a goal is scored after a player was in an offside offense, you need to be standing there with your flag up so the referee can talk to you about what was going on. And if everyone agrees that it was an offside offense, you can wave off the goal. Do not drop your flag and continue play. Wait until the referee acknowledges you, one way or the other. Either waves you down and then you get back in position, or he blows the whistle and then you have a conversation about what happened. All right, next. Any questions?
There is one question. Maybe you've answered it already, but Sean's asking, what about a ricochet off a teammate?
Oh, I messed up.
Yeah, so I did try to talk to that as I saw it, but
Yeah.
that is part of time of judgment, because again, time of judgment is when it's last played or touched by a teammate. So the ricochet off of a teammate is time of judgment. So it would be the touch. So it's not when it was played by player one, but touched by teammate two. That's when you need to do your judgment. There was a game that I did U12 many moons ago on a throw-in where there is no offside on a throw-in. One of the teammates was between the thrower and the person collecting the ball. He ducked, it bounced off his back and went to the teammate in an offside position. So I had to throw the flag because it touched a teammate. The throw-in was over. It touched the teammate. So time of judgment was where it touched the teammate. It was an unfortunate situation, but it ricocheted off the player and he was in an offside position. So question here, what if the player in an offside position doesn't move or take action, but the defender goes to defend them thinking they're involved in play? Okay, so we'll go back to, in the opinion of the referee, if you feel that that player in an offside position has influenced play, cause the attacker or the defender to alter how they would play the ball, then that player is guilty of an offside offense. They don't need to move for that to happen. Now, if the player doesn't move and no one reacts to him or her, then there's no active involvement there. So it's hard. There's no cut and dry cookie cutter answer to your question, Ernest. I mean, you have to see what's going on the field to know if you're gonna throw the flag up or not. But I would say in this particular case, if by the actions you see on the field and you see that the defender changed their play as a result of that player being there, then I would call them for offside. Good question, though. All right. Are we giving grace period for offsides in 10U like a few games calling it less? I don't know if I've ever called grace period on offside. I would say perhaps on throw-ins, we want to be a little lenient on a bad throw, but offside is offside.
Yeah.
So I would not give a grace on offside because no, I just wouldn't do that. I don't know, Mauro, how do you feel about that? Or Al, your opinion on that?
I agree, Steve. I think they're different calls. I agree completely with the bad throw in at 10U, especially, but for an offside, there's no grace period.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Steve. No grace period on the offside. We need to call it.
Yeah.
And on a 10U, wouldn't we just like blow the whistle and have them redo the throw, not necessarily
Well, but right. So
not necessarily just let play go on. We would have them
question was
redo
offside, right? The throw in, I agree completely. The question was really offside. There's no grace period on offside. For the throw in, to your point, yeah, we do it, right? Explain to them and go, yeah.
That, or if the bad throw resulted in a breakaway, I'm not going to stop play for a bad throw because the game has moved on.
Yeah.
Right? It's 10U. Let the 8-9-year-olds play.
Yeah.
And certainly talk to the player if it's every time they're making a bad throw. Maybe say something to the coach, say, or talk to them on the sideline. Make sure you keep your feet down. Make sure you keep your feet down. Keep your feet out off the field of play. Talk to them to help them try to get through it. Or, yeah, that's what I would do on throws. Okay, good questions.
Moving on
Then.
Build outline.
The build out line, just for those people that will be doing our 8U games this year. There is now a build out line in 8U that will be in effect for goal kicks. So it's treated just like the build out line in 10U. As the kicking team is preparing to do their goal kick, the defending team needs to move to the outside of the build out line. So as a referee, you just need to remind the players to work their way out to be on the far side of the build out line as the kick is being taken. Any questions there? I'm sure it's going to be fun to get a 6 or 7-year-old to listen to you to get on the other side of the build out line, but we're going to have to try. All right. So just a reminder of our flag signals, just as a reminder for everyone, a throw in, make sure that you have your flag up at 45 degrees and the shaft of the flag is an extension of your arm. Next. So a goal kick, flag in your right hand, pointing horizontally straight to the center of the field. Corner kick, 45 degrees pointing to the base of the flag, regardless of the size. Side of the field the kick is on, always point to the flag closest to you. So can the goal kick go past the build-out line in 8 or 10U? Yes, it can. There's
Yes,
no
it can.
limitation. That the first year of the player development initiative, it couldn't, and that ended in the second year, and it was allowed to. They could kick it as far as they wanted. Okay, so corner kick, always point to the flag nearest to you. All right, next.
I miss those uniforms.
Yeah, there you go. I like the gold bull stripe, indeed. All right, so you've called the offside offense. You've recognized all three elements of the offside offense are there. So you've raised your flag straight up. The referee has recognized you by blowing the whistle to stop play. So if the offside is in the far third of the field, you want to hold your flag up at a 45-degree angle, indicating that's the far side. If it's in the middle of the field, you point it horizontally. And if it's in the near side, the near third closest to you, you point 45 degrees down. All with your right hand. All right. Next slide. Next slide.
Question from Gregory.
For 8U, are goal kicks indirect? I think all kicks are basically treated as indirect because there are no goalkeepers. So that includes the kickoff. You can't score off a kickoff either. All right. So just a reminder for proper position of where you should be on a corner kick. You should be standing behind the flag on the goal line, watching to make sure that the ball either cleanly enters the goal, or if it goes out of the field of play, you can identify the ball has completely left the field of play so that you can alert the referee that the ball is out, and then you can return to a goal kick. All right. So if a goal is scored and it's clearly in the net, you want to place your flag on your right side and start moving to your restart position to be prepared for the kickoff. That's your signal to the referee that a goal has actually been scored. And then if in your pre-game instructions, your referee has asked you to assist them in calling a foul, you want to raise your flag up and wave it to let the referee know that a foul has occurred. And then when they blow the whistle to indicate that the play has stopped, you then point in the direction of the free kick. Any questions on the flags? All right, awesome. Next slide. All right, just a quick game card reminder. At the end of the match, make sure that you clearly sign your name and provide your team number on the backs of the cards. That applies to the referee and the assistant referees. That way Carlos knows that and can read that you actually did that game. And make sure your team number is there. With our new CGI system, it should be a little easier, assuming everyone attends the matches that they signed up for. But in the case of someone not showing and you jump in, you're going to want to make sure that when you're covering that game for someone who wasn't able to attend their match, that you clearly put your name on the card so you get credit for that game. And also make sure that as you're reviewing the game cards with your assistant referees, that the scores match, that if the home team has 5 goals and the visiting team has 3, that's 5 and 3 home and visitor on both cards. Make sure that the cards match. All right, next slide.
I just want to say, by the way, thank you, Steve, for the effort in converting us from Excel to CGI.
I cannot take credit for that. I just helped implement it. It's all Mauro and Jaime.
Okay, good change. I think it's a step forward in the right direction. So good. Thank you both.
Hey, Steve, before we go into the Q&A, can you just quick talk about CGI?
Sure. So I think it will simplify how our referees can sign up for the games because it's much more mobile phone friendly. So just sign into the system with your user ID and password. The link is on our website, and it's also in the email that Jim sends out reminding everyone to go into the games. Once you sign into the system, it takes you to the search screen where you can search by division, search by date. There's also a couple filters where you can search by when you're in the show box on the number of records, it'll show if you want to look for open positions only. So on the right-hand column, Al, if you're driving here,
Yep.
there's the fourth drop-down box on the right side, show. You can look for only open slots, so it greatly reduces. Oh my goodness, we have one match.
Did we check the
Wow.
poll real quick?
Wow. Before this
Wow.
meeting started, there were 8. Congratulations. Thank you, everyone. So now we only have one game to fill. That's awesome. Great news. But so it becomes a very easy way for you to sign up. You just click on that white box for you to select the match. And for any of the new refs are here, when you check that box, it'll also prompt you if you want to request a mentor, and you can request a mentor at the same time. What I find also is a valuable part of CGI is the My Schedule button underneath View Records. That will show you all the games that you have signed up for, and you can also now filter that by start and end date, so you can see games for a particular weekend or particular time period that you want to make available. This can get downloaded into Excel, and so you could then upload that into Google Drive if you wanted to have it available on your phone, so that you could see what your responsibilities were for that particular weekend.
And additionally, we'll have a printout of the full schedule on the field just in case you
Yes.
forgot.
It'll be there. So,
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
for any of the people on the phone, any questions about CGI? Anyone having any issues or problems with it? Excuse me. Okay, awesome.
We still have 8. I think when Al searched, it was
Oh, just 10U?
Just searching 10U or 8U or whichever one he had selected.
10U. Okay. All right.
I got my
Bummer.
hopes up.
Damn.
Let's go back and see.
Real quick, by the way, heads up, I think Carlos raised his hand. I'm gonna make you co-host, Carlos, so you can unmute.
Oh, we still got quite a few matches left, so.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, that's, yeah, we didn't filter on date on this one.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Carlos. So on the form, so for new referees that have, and this is just for everybody, I already know the answer, but for new referees that for whatever reason, let's say the account was not created, so instead of resetting the password, you just want them to create their account, right? Which is right underneath forgot password. It's just create.
It's
like
above.
you go to
It's
login.
above.
Yeah,
Or
to
above,
the-
I'm sorry, above. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
that way they just fill out their profile, and then either one of you guys will approve it, and then they'll be good to go, right?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. And then for mentors, when you click on mentor, I haven't done it yet. So then it allows you, does it allow us to put our name there, or it's just, so it says check for mentor.
And so what that would do is so in this case, if Al selected the mentor on that, he would be assigning himself as the mentor to that game.
Oh, I see. So if you log in and,
Yeah.
well,
So now Al, pick like the center referee on the 8U game, 8U boys game at the top. Oh, you can't because it conflicts. Sorry.
so,
So
I did it on purpose. That way, you know, that actually checks that, right?
Yeah. So you probably could take the 150-10 boys. Oh, so there now, if he wanted to, as a national referee, if he wanted to get a mentor for that 8U game, he can click that white box next to request mentor, and that would notify the system that that game and that referee has asked for a mentor.
Okay, and then if I wanted to be the mentor, I log in
And then
and
you
just
click,
where it says mentor.
yeah, you
on
would
the
just
bottom.
click that on the green box underneath the mentor, and that would assign you as the mentor to that game.
Yep.
Okay, and then it would put my name there.
Yes.
I think Carlos is asking, how do I check for who needs a mentor?
Yeah, kind of. I guess. Yeah, that's kind of my next question. So
Well, so we'll with the
There you go.
well, you
okay,
can
Right,
go
well-
and look for mentors requested, and right now you'll find that there haven't been any for this weekend, which
Okay.
is not too surprising considering who signed up for the games if you look at who's on them.
yeah,
For
I
this
just had the 10U division meeting yesterday and then 12U today, and I encourage everybody to log in, create their account if they don't have one, and then two to sign up and we'll mentor them. So that's I anticipate from today and tomorrow. Yeah.
Right. But up to now, if you look at who's signed up for the games, I'm not surprised that there's no mentors requested right now.
Yeah, it's the more experienced refs.
So that's
Okay.
CGI. So it's coming up at 5 after 9. So I know it's getting late. If there aren't, I mean, we've answered some questions. If you're not refereeing, should you change out of the uniform? I would take off your jersey.
How do you recommend it?
Yeah. I always wear a black dry fit t-shirt under my jersey, so I can just take my jersey off and not have to worry about it. You can also carry another polo shirt or something with you, but I would not wear your uniform on the sidelines. It could be viewed as confusing.
All righty.
All right.
I
Well,
guess we can wrap it up.
hope this was informative. I hope it helped people, and certainly look forward to a good season. Make sure to be prepared for the heat this weekend. It's supposed to be 100 degrees out on the field today or on Saturday. So
Hydrate.
Yeah. If I could just say a couple of things. Thank you all for volunteering. This, the fleet wouldn't work without you. And if you have any questions, Steve, Mauro, myself, and Jaime are available for questions pretty much between the four of us around the clock.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Al.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
This presentation will be posted on the website.